Is Test cricket still the pinnacle of the sport? Well, we've been having this conversation here on the SportsMax zone, and it continues to be part of the global conversation on the eve of the World Test Championship final between South Africa and reigning champions Australia at the home of cricket, Lords. Now, after a 2.5-year qualification process, South Africa emerged as the #1 ranked team with the best win percentage. Australia finished second to join them in the championship match. Now, ahead of Wednesday morning start of the contest, 4:30 in Jamaica, 5:30 in the rest of the Caribbean, South Africa's captain, Temba Bavuma, says he hopes contesting the World Test Championship final will inspire young players in his homeland to want to play the longest format.
I think of the way things are back home. I think there have already been benefits for the people back home. I mean, if you think of the number of people who are flying in here to be a part of this occasion, to hopefully witness some sort of history, I think that already shows the positive impact that the game is having on the country as a whole. I think obviously with the younger guys as well being swayed by T20 cricket and all of that, I think the efforts that we're doing within the Red Bull space hopefully will inspire those younger guys to want to play Red Bull cricket.
Meanwhile, Australia's captain, Pat Cummins, says Test cricket is his favourite format and that defending the title is of utmost importance.
It's a nice to see trophy, so it's right up there. You only get a few opportunities, if you're lucky in your career to try and win one. So it's a trophy we've spoken a lot about over the last couple of years. We wanted to be in this final. Personally, I think that 2023 World Cup title is going to be tough to beat. But this is a good one. Test cricket's my favourite format. You've got to basically win in all different conditions to make it into this final. You're competing against all Test playing nations, so it's really special to be here in the final. And if we can retain that mace, that's a pretty awesome thing for this team.
Yeah, the final 11s have also been released. Let's have a look at them, starting with the Australian 11. They have Usman Khawaja, Marcus Labuschagne, Cameron Green, Steve Smith, Travis Head, Bo Webster, Alex Carey, the captain Cummins, Mitchell Stark, Nathan Lyon, and Josh Hazelwood. I don't think any surprises there now for the South Africa 11. Aidan Markram, Ryan Rickerton, Wayne Mulder, Temba Bavuma, the captain, Tristan Stubbs, David Beddingham, Carl Vereen, Marka Jansen, Keshav Maharaj, Kagisa Rabada, and Lungi Ngide, the South Africa 11. Fazir Mohammed is still with us for this discussion. Faz, does it say anything? Does it mean anything, the fact that it is South Africa in this World Test Championship final and not India, not England?
Absolutely it does. And that's why you're going to see a change in the format sooner rather than later. Because when the big guns don't make it, as we found out with European Champions League, which became a league in 1992 because the big clubs didn't want to get knocked out early, and now we have this new format that almost guarantees that they'll be closer to the end than the beginning. You're going to see changes take place because people in the hierarchy of England and some of the other nations are upset that South Africa, they having not played England or Australia in the qualifying phase and the run-in to the final. In fact, it's come back to bite them because it's being judged on win percentage. So you could play 95 million test matches and win half of them. Another team like poor South Africa could play 12, win 7 and qualify because they have a better win percentage, because the big three don't want to give equity as far as playing as many test matches as India, Australia and England. So now it's come back to bite them. You can be guaranteed they're going to try to find some way to inveigle the system and manipulate the system that gives them a better chance the next time around.
Yeah, very much the case. I wouldn't be surprised myself. Heading into this contest, of course, based on that win percentage, South Africa topped the table. But would you make Australia favourites going into this?
Absolutely, no question about it. I think, again, not just because it's Australia, they've got a settled team. The only concern, and it's been talked about at length, since the retirement of David Warner, and this is where the surprise comes in, that a nation like Australia is finding it difficult to get a settled opening partner to Usman Khawaja, who is believed that his career might come to an end after the next Ashes series. You've got Cameron Green, who hasn't played Test cricket for quite some time, back in at number 3 in the order. Steve Smith, who felt he could take it easy at the top of the order because only the West Indies they were playing just over a year ago, has now settled back into number 4 because he's found out that opening is not the same as batting in the middle order. But their bowling lineup is settled. Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark, Lyon, you really can't get better than that in world cricket. And that's why I think, Ricardo, the decisive duel in this World Test Championship will be the South African bowling lineup against the Australian batting lineup. That's where I think the match is going to be decided.
Yeah, and Faz, how much will the conditions play when it comes to that deciding factor?
It really depends on what conditions that they have, because from what we understand, there could be some showers along the way, it could be overcast. And again, because of English conditions, because of the slope and at Lords and all of that, it's about players being experienced enough to manage those circumstances, manage the expectation of a World Test Championship. It could be overcast tomorrow morning, and whoever gets the new ball could run through the top order of the opponents. But if they waste it, if they spray it all over the place, it could be very costly. So conditions could be a determining factor, but you've got to bowl properly with the Duke's ball to take advantage of those conditions.
And as you say that, will Kagiso Rabada be one of Australia's biggest threat if he gets it right?
I think he will be, notwithstanding his issues off the field, recreational use of drugs, which I think included cocaine as well. Hopefully he would have put that behind him and focused purely on his cricket, because on song, Kagiso Rabada is a handful in any circumstances and any conditions anywhere in the world. As we found out right here in the Caribbean, on our flat pitches in Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago, he is a handful. And really, if he could find the right lengths, bowl the right line, with the genuine pace that he has, and the support of Marco Jansen, who is a really difficult customer. He may not have the size of a Joel Garner, but he's got the height and the bounce, the awkward bounce that he can generate. And then you've got Lungi Ngiri, who again is a big man, generates quite a bit of pace, and the support of Keshav Mirage. It's really up to these bowlers to put that that Australian batting lineup, under pressure.
Let's look at this Australian bowling setup and their four-pronged attack. We're talking about Cummins, of course, the captain, Mitchell Stark, Nathan Lyon, and Josh Hazelwood. There is an argument being made that as far as that foursome is concerned, it's one of the best we've seen in cricket. You would have covered a lot of bowling attacks over the years, including from Australia. Do you think it's right up there with what we saw from the Australians when they were dominating cricket in the late 90s and early 2000s?
I think it's very, very close, because if you look, for example, at the Australian bowling lineup, you would have Glenn McGrath, Jason Gillespie, Brett Lee, and Shane Warne. That's an outstanding bowling lineup. The advantage that this quartet would have is that their careers are being managed a lot better. And therefore, you don't have the situation necessarily with players breaking down. We're looking at Scott Boland, who can't even make the final 11. And he's such an effective performer in Australian conditions. So yes, I think it's one of the best. I wouldn't say automatically it's the best, because we talk about the late 1990s and that period where I referenced McGrath, Warne, Gillespie, Brett Lee, and a few others who were in and around the bowling lineup. But you could talk about Dennis Lilly, Jeff Thompson, Max Walker, Gary Gilmore from the 1970s, the team that whipped the West Indies 5-1, admittedly with the help of some umpiring decisions. So as you go back, you could find Lindwall, Miller, Johnston, and so many others of that ilk, Clary Grimmett and the other great spinners. But yes, I think this quartet will stand the test of time as amongst the best, but not necessarily the best produced by Australia.
What is the storyline that we may be missing here as far as the matchup between these two nations are concerned at Lords? That may be a surprise in the upcoming days, an X factor, so to speak.
I think there isn't really too much to be surprised about. I think the concern is the vulnerability of the South African batting against quality bowling. That is going to be a challenge, and I think that will be the X factor. That will be the surprise package to me. If the South African batting lineup, if they're put in on day one, bright and early tomorrow morning, and they withstand that early assault, get to lunch possibly with no more than 2 wickets down, to me, that would be a significant step forward for the Proteas if they are to pull off the upset against Australia.
All right, fans will be watching close to see what happens over the next 5 days, assuming it does go 5 days. As usual, Faz, thank you so much. Before you go, though, Faz, I do want a quick comment. We're going to be speaking about it in detail in the next segment, but a quick comment on that 16-man squad released by Cricket West Indies for the Test series against Australia.
A 16-man squad. Are we touring somewhere? Oh, I thought it's Australia who's visiting with 4 openers. No Alec Athanaze. I might have missed it, but I didn't get any explanation about Alec Athanaze. And Kimar Roach being told, well, that's it, which to me should be handled a bit better. Not saying that he should play, but I'm saying it should be handled a bit better. But that's just my immediate reaction.
All right, Faz, thanks very much. We'll chat again soon.
Take care.
All right, let's go to another break on the SportsMax Zone. Still more cricket to come. And we've got what I think will be a fiery tennis discussion later on in the show. Stay with us.